I am back at my old shop and it has been a long time since I filmed a video like this here. I have noticed while walking around the fish shop today that there are loads and loads of hardy fish in here. Really good beginners fish, just great classic aquarium fish that will do well in most people's aquariums. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to pick out some of my favorites and show you exactly what fish are great to start with. Now, most people's goals when coming into this hobby is to build a big, busy, bright community aquarium with loads of different species, loads of different colour, and one that will keep you interested and just catch your eye as soon as you walk into a room. So with that in mind, I have kept all the fish today, well, community based. Everything's peaceful, everything's chilled out, and you should be able to build a really nice community aquarium around them. Now, do remember, there are hundreds of hardy species out there. This list is not necessarily endless, but it is quite large. So there are other ones, and if you enjoy this video, make sure you comment and let me know so that I can make more of these videos with different species. And then the last thing to remember before fully going into this video, a lot of fish in aquarium stores never show their full colours. Until they're settled in a home aquarium with plants and rocks and woods, fish will never show their full potential in an aquarium store. So it's always worth searching online when you're looking at a fish, because that silvery grey drab fish in the shop might turn out to be one of the most colourful ones you can get for your aquarium. But anyway, on with the first fish. So let's kick things off with one of the ultimate beginner fish, and that is the Platy. Now, these little guys and girls are honestly like confetti in an aquarium. Bright, colourful, full of personality. They are a great, great fish. Now, they don't get overly big, growing to around 5 or 6 centimetres, which is what, 2-ish inches, and are incredibly hardy and fairly adaptable. What you will read in most books is that they require a pH of 7 and above, essentially a hard water aquarium. But again, because they have been bred in the hobby for so long, you find that they are fairly adaptable with that pH. I have kept them down to about a pH of 6.5 and they have done absolutely fine. But it is worth thinking about, and if you have got a pH of 7 and above, they are probably going to do better. But have a chat with your local shops, because they may be keeping them in different water parameters, and that way you can try and match what they're doing well in. Now, it is very easy to tell the difference between males and females on Platies. Males will have a line underneath their belly, which I can let you all guess as to what that is, and females will have a large triangular fin under their belly. Very, very simple to tell when you get the hang of it. Generally, on Platies, you'll want to have more females than males, because the males are, let's call them persistent. So generally, as a rule, 2 females to every male minimum should be what you're aiming for. You can keep all male colonies, but they can get a bit bickery sometimes. You can also keep all female colonies, but remember, the females may have bred with males in the shop, so it might not stop you from having babies completely. Now, aquarium sizing on Platies is a tricky one, because you can probably start with a 60-ish litre aquarium, which is 15 to 18 gallons, I think. I'm trying to do this off the top of my head and remembering my conversions. But what you've got to remember with Platies is they are a live bearer, which, as the name suggests, they give birth to live young. Now, you can start off with a 60-litre aquarium, but if there's hiding spaces for the babies, you may end up being a little bit overrun. So it's well worth having the largest aquarium you can possibly afford and maintain, because they will do better, and there will also be space for any babies that might pop up. But whatever you've got, a rocky scape, a wooded scape, a fully planted scape, Platies will normally feel right at home. They have been in the hobby for so long, they really don't mind. Give them a really nice furnished aquarium, they will get along really well. Peaceful, social, love being in groups, what more could you want? And feeding on them, super easy. Just about anything you can throw at them. When I've kept Platies in the past, I've given them a mixture of pellets, even sometimes a little bit of blanched vegetables will go down really well. Things like algae wafers are always a good thing, and also a little bit of frozen food once in a while. Again, with fish, the more varied a diet you can give them, the better they will get on. Now coming in at number 2 is a fish that I am, well, just about to put into one of my aquariums as I film this video, and that is the lemon tetra. Now they are such a cool little fish. Really vibrant, almost goldy yellow once they settle down. Again, you will never see their full potential in an aquarium shop because, well, they just won't show it. And they look amazing when they've got that gold, that black stripe on the fin and that bright red eye. They just look so amazing. Now they grow to around 5 centimeters, which is 2-ish inches again, and will thrive in a shoal. So no less than 6 I would recommend, but really the more the merrier. And for aquarium sizing on them, you want to give them a bit of space. They're not a small tetra, they're quite chunky once they grow up. So you'll want to go for an aquarium of like 60 litres or more, again 15-ish gallons, and that will be ideal for a really nice shoal of these fish. But they are super peaceful, easygoing, will get on with the majority of community fish you have got going out there. They are really good, and like I say, give them time and that colour will really come through and they will look really good against the greens, browns and greys of rock and plants and wood. Now feeding on them again is really simple. They'll love a varied diet, so different types of pellet food, different types of frozen foods. Just do as many different foods as you can and they will get on really well. Now next up, for no real reason, is our first bottom-dwelling catfish on this list, and that is the peppered Corydoras. Now these little guys are often spoken about as a cleaner for your aquarium, but they deserve a lot more than just being told they're a cleaner. They have got amazing patterns of blues and greens and purples that shine through on their bodies, almost looking like that oil slick on water sort of colour. They are really cool fish. Now they max out at around 6 to 6.5 centimetres, which is 2.5 inches, and do love being in a group. So again, the more of these little guys you can keep together, the better. Now talking of groups, I'd probably say 4 or more is going to be ideal, but the sky's the limit really. I have kept these fish in 10s and 20s and they do so well. And for sizing on the aquarium, again, around a 60 litre, 15 gallon aquarium should be good for a small starter group, but the bigger the better and the more space you'll have for more fish. Now one thing to remember on them is they do like a sandy bottom to the aquarium, or at least nothing with sharp stones or sharp bits of gravel. Those little barbels that you may be able to see at the fronts of their faces can get worn down over time, and obviously the sharper or more aggressive the sand or gravel you're using, the easier it is for them to get worn down and get damaged. Now, as for food, they will eat, again, just about anything. A good sinking catfish pellet is a great staple food for these. And then feeding things like algae wafers and frozen foods like bloodworms or brine shrimps will give them a good varied diet and make sure that they thrive in your aquarium. One little cool fact actually about Corydoras is occasionally you'll see them swim up to the surface and gulp air. Now, the reason for this is they've actually got like a special adaptation in their intestine and they can actually breathe air through it. It's a bit more scientific than that and I won't bore you with the science in this video, but it is very interesting to see, and if it's done every now and again, it's nothing to worry about. But if they are hammering up to the surface on the regular, then I would say to check your water, make sure everything's going okay, because it can sometimes be a sign of stress, but it is just an adaptation for where they used to live in really low oxygen environments. Now we couldn't do this list without including one of my all-time favourite beginner fish, and that is the white cloud mountain minnow. Now these guys and girls don't even need a heater if you're keeping them inside. They are a brilliant, very adaptable fish. Now at 4 centimetres long, roughly, what's that, 1.5 inches, they are such a great fish for those smaller setups. 40 litres or more is probably ideal. Again, the bigger the better, because you're gonna want to keep these minnows in a group of, again, 6 or more. They like having their own kind, they like shoaling and schooling around with each other. So yeah, the more the merrier, but 40 litres and above should be fine for you. Now, as I said, they can handle cooler temperatures, down to about 16 degrees Celsius, maybe 60 Fahrenheit, I think that is. I have heard of them going lower. It's just one of those things. They probably go a lot lower, but it's always safer to keep them in that sort of really safe band. But it does make them a great choice for unheated indoor aquariums. Now feeding, again, they have been in the hobby for a long time, so small micro pellets, frozen foods, anything like that is going to keep them really happy and really healthy. Now there is a whole video on the white cloud mountain minnow on my channel, so if you want an in-depth video just covering them, you can go and watch that. But one of the coolest things about them is their name, and that comes from their natural home, which is the cool mountain streams in China where they were originally discovered, and they had adapted to strong currents and variable temperatures over there, so that's what makes them such a hardy and adaptable fish for the aquarium. Next up is the elegant and peaceful Harlequin rasbora, with that really dark blacky blue triangle on the side of them, and then those coppery sort of reds and oranges above and below and around. They are a stunning fish, and again, you will see them in shops where they're a bit silvery and not as colourful, but actually give them time, give them a well planted lovely aquarium, and you will see those colours come through. Now they only grow to about 5 centimetres, which is 2-ish inches, and love to school and shoal in groups of 6 or more again. A lot of these fish that you'll see in this video are shoaling or schooling fish, depending on the type of fish. Again, smaller tanks are fine for them, but I would be aiming for the 60 litres, 15 gallons and above really. The bigger, the better. Give them more space, you'll see more colour, you'll see more activity, and you'll see that sort of behaviour of them showing off to each other really coming through. And feeding them, again, is really easy. Pellet foods, frozen foods, live foods, anything decent quality that you can get into your aquarium, these little chaps will generally eat. And it's only just occurred to me, but I do wonder if the Harlequin name comes from that black triangle on the sides of their bodies, because the old school clowns that you used to see used to have black triangles on their clothes. And I do wonder if it's the same thing and comes from the same place. Quite interesting. Now again, I am just getting ready to put a group of these into a new aquarium I'm setting up as I'm filming this, and that is the Glowlight Tetras. Now these used to be one of the hardiest fish when I was working in the stores. If anyone was ever sort of worried or nervous and really wanted that tough fish, Glowlight Tetras were where we took them. But they have got a really nice temperament and beautiful coloration if you just give them time. That glowing orange stripe down the side of their bodies will almost like light up, almost like a neon tetra. They are that bright once they settle down. And they stay small again, around sort of 4 centimetres, so 1.5 inches. And again are happy in groups, so 6 or more is going to be the number you're going to want to be aiming for. Now being another small fish, a smaller aquarium, 60 litres or so is absolutely fine, but as I've said time and time again in this video, more space, more fish, more activity, they generally will be happier. So the bigger size you can get, the better. They're actually a very cool fish to watch, because what I've noticed with Glowlight Tetras in my aquariums at home is they seem to lurk lower down in the aquarium, so they'll sort of skulk in amongst the plants, whereas a lot of the things like the lemon tetras will sit higher up in the water column. And a cool little thing about Glowlight Tetras is that glowing stripe down the side generally helps them communicate in the murky waters where they're from in the wild. It would be sort of tea-stained coloration, and it would be really hard for them to see each other, but with that glowing stripe, they can pick each other out in that murky water. Now next up is a fish I really wanted to pick up, and no one had them in stock when I was getting ready to quarantine fish for my new tank, so these are definitely going to be on my list for future fish, and that is Pristella tetras, or well, they're also known as Xray tetras. Now they do have a clear body, so you can sort of see through them. It's not to the extent of like glass fish, but they're still quite cool. You can sort of see through their body. And eventually they'll have this yellow, black and white stripe to the top and bottom fins. Almost looks like a signal on a boat. They're absolutely stunning. And then teamed up with that red tail, just such a cool fish. Now they'll grow to around 5 centimetres, 2 inches, and will colour up as they get older, so watch out for that. Again, the more hiding spaces, the more plants you can give them, the more interactive that you can make the aquarium, the better the colours will be. Now they are perfect for those smaller aquariums again, 60 litres, 15 gallons and above, and love being in with other small peaceful tetras and fish. And as with everything else on this list, it is easy to feed. Pellets, frozen foods, live foods, they are really not fussy. Just make sure you keep it varied and keep it high quality, and their colours and their health will show through. Now, another favourite Tetra of mine is the Rosy Tetra. Rosy Tetras get this sort of warm, orangey, reddy sort of maroon coloration to them as they get older. And again, it's all about giving them time in a nice, healthy aquarium that will bring that colours through. Now, sizing wise, they're going to reach about 5 centimetres, 2 inches. And again, as with everything in this list that is a shoaling fish, they do better in groups. So make sure you're keeping 6 or more in your aquarium and their colours will look amazing. Now, with maturer fish, you can actually tell males and females very easily on them. What you'll have is the males will generally have a longer finnage to them and will almost sort of flare their fins and show off, and the females will have shorter. It's a tricky thing to see when they're young, but as they grow, they will generally show off a lot more. Again, a 60-litre aquarium will be perfect for them. The bigger is always better as you can get more fish in there, but 60 litres and above will do you absolutely fine. And being an omnivore, they are super, super easy to please. Again, flakes, pellets, the occasional tablet food. The more varied a diet you can give any of the fish, the better they do. And last but not least, by no fault of their own, just where they came in the list, is the bronze Corydoras. Now, these are a little bit bigger than most of the fish we've had on this list. I see females getting up to about 7.5 centimetres, which is like 3 inches, but they are some of the most hardiest and peaceful bottom dwellers you can find. Again, 60 litres and above, but being that slight bit bigger, you might be wanting to aim for more 90 to 100 litres. And just remember that information about a nice, smooth or soft substrate in there so they don't damage their face. Other than that, keep them in groups and they will be easy to care. They are such a lovely fish. Now, they're not the most colourful fish out there on the market. When you see them as their juveniles, they do look a bit brown and a bit boring, as it were, but bronze is in their name, and eventually once you get them to maturity, you'll see that sort of grey brown splodge on their side actually start to get hints of greens and blues and almost like a shining sort of coloration. It's not to the level of a neon tetra, but it definitely makes them look good. For feeding, sinking catfish pellets, bloodworms, brine shrimps, algae wafers, anything that hits the bottom is going to be absolutely ideal. A lot of people do sell them and do buy them in thought of, they'll just pick up the scraps. But these fish do deserve to be fed their own food just to make sure they thrive rather than survive in your aquarium. So there you go, there is a good selection of beginner / hardy / tough fish for you to pick from for your tropical / cold water aquarium. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment for me, let me know what you want to see, and I'll see you in the next one.